Hey guys, welcome to NRL Fantasy Buy Hold Sell Round 24. Joined here today, as always, with Ryan.
Hey guys, another round, well, I'll say success for us mostly, right?
More so for you than for me. Some interesting distributions
Same
across
ranks.
across the board, and some important things to note here with trades. But I'll let you talk about this because I think you have a bit of gloating to do.
Well, actually, like that jumped up because when I last checked, it was around 910, the average score. So yeah, it's obviously changed quite a bit. But yeah, thankfully, still managed to beat that with 960, no, 972 this week, which is pretty good. As
Very
we'll get
good.
into later on.
I think I was below it, but anyway,
That's right. Yeah.
only two trades left, which is a bit intimidating. Before we kick into the buy hold sells, I just want to touch on some players that I think we should all own. Maybe a bit of bias because Ryan and I both own these players, but I'd say these guys are buys for the rest of the year unless injury. Any disagreement?
I would say KPP maybe you could pod with some players that we might bring up later on, but I don't know. I don't know how much of a risk we'll be taking this time of the year with obviously like two trades or three trades to go. So yeah, they're all scoring well. They're all got pretty good roles on their side. So
Yeah. And no more buys, importantly. Um, All right,
yeah,
let's kick into
right.
some buy hold sells. And this is someone that both of us are gunning for today. Surprisingly, still not very high owned, only 16% by the top 100. But he's got the half center duel, which is valuable. We can place him in the centers, which has been struggling a bit lately. And that's Adam Dewey. I'll let you talk a bit about him while I finesse this builder right here for a sec.
Yeah, I feel like most seasons, this kind of guy you would probably wouldn't buy at this point. But obviously, everyone lost Herbie. Most people probably do have a bit of cash lying around, and so I kind of just feel like is he maybe like a bit overpriced potentially, but if he comes out and averages like a 45 in the center spot for the rest of the year, maybe one more big game. And I still think that's pretty good value considering the current centers we have available on the app, right? Like obviously Lucas is gone, Farnworth is gone. I think one other guy is gone as well. Can't remember. So he could easily average probably more than Fermor really for the rest
Yeah,
of the year. So it's a really appealing one. That's why we're both pretty keen.
yeah, it does feel possibly a bit short-sighted. Because this score is very good. It's probably not something he'll repeat. And those kick meters, I don't know. I don't know if he
Yeah,
can
we're massive.
continue with those kick meters, but the base is definitely there. Maybe a little bit lower, but he's just gone on a crazy streak. Doesn't matter where he's been playing lately. He's just been performing. And he's been re-signed to the club as well recently. So, um, not that that necessarily means
And
anything.
great fixtures as well. So
Yeah, yeah, very good fixtures.
so
So
yeah,
he's
actually it's pretty low risk, and you're potentially getting a guy who can get an 80, as we've seen these last few weeks. So obviously, if you have two trades to go, I don't know if trading out someone, trading out a green dot, but I think four or more trades, he definitely is probably the top buy of the week.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, we love seeing kick meters that heavy, and we love someone with goal scoring abilities. Um,
Mm.
And Latrell Mitchell is also one of those people. If you can see his kick meters has been crazy lately. I think now that he's back in centre for the second week, I imagine he'll probably pick up a bit more kicking as opposed to what he did last week, which was only zero by the looks of it, which is quite surprising. But yeah, he should hopefully retain goal kicking, I imagine. I think last week it fell to the winger. Humphrey started with it, but then missed out on it. But yeah, unfortunately, he's not fullback. He's still named in center, but that didn't deter him from going out and getting 64.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I don't know how repeatable the stats are. It was two try save tackles, turnovers, and two try assists. So yeah, it's a bit scary buying him at center, but I guess for me, I'm thinking about like, do you buy him this week and hope that he gets back to fullback next week, and then you get two games of fullback, one game center? I think that probably is still good value, but I don't know.
Yeah, I see. I generally would have put him first, but because of the buy, I think he becomes less so over Adam Dewey. And I think also the Rabbitohs don't really have contention for making the top eight. So it's a possibility that they actually no, they have so many injuries that they probably will be playing their best side for the rest of the year. But definitely missing that bye there in the second last week of the round of the season's a bit rough. But he's
I'm not
still a pod.
sure.
He's still a pod. Tino is someone I'm looking at. I'm not sure if Ryan's keen on him, but I did own him previously. He still maintains the sort of pod role that he had. He has lost a lot of cash this year. He started at 700K, he's down about 140, and he's basically their main weapon on the Titan side alongside with Jaden Campbell. I think, assuming he's all healthy, fit to go, he should be getting 60 to 70 minutes, maintaining a PPM just under one. He should be a pretty safe 60 for the rest of the year. I think what's that? That's 240 points, sort of locked in for 560K. With trades this low, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer.
I guess it depends also on the kind of role he gets when he comes back into the side, right? Like, we play big minutes straight away. There aren't too many games left. The season's kind of not in a great spot. So that's the concern. But
Yeah,
like, I
I
guess as well, like you trade to get to him. Like if you go from if you like upgrade someone cheaper to him, I think that's worth it. But I don't know if you trade like I guess like a Husky team, probably in the bad trade, right?
yeah, I'm thinking it makes sense if you have Raiders that you trade Raiders this week. I'm pretty certain they'll be rested in the final week of the round. Obviously, a bye this week makes them a big trade out target. Like even if Tino doesn't perform that well, would you rather have, you know, someone that misses out on 2 games, or would you rather just take his, let's say at worst, maybe 40? I definitely prefer the
Hmm.
latter.
That's a
And
good
he's
point.
he's one of those guys that comes in and he's always looking like he's trying to do his best regardless of, situation. Very, very similar mindset I sort of see with Terrell May, just powering on 80 minutes as much as he can at prop. Um, but that's just an internal opinion.
Yeah.
Wishart, I mentioned last week, and you almost sort of snickered at it a little bit, but then he went out and scored 76. Um, Ironically, you owned him and I didn't, which was a bit painful and possibly Cope this week, but I don't imagine he'll be getting that reoccurring. I think there's also a possibility that Jerome Hughes comes back early, but if he doesn't, he's definitely someone you want in your side. I think it's just about deciding if it's worth using those final trades to get Wishart in as opposed to someone else.
Yeah, I think they probably have better options this week now. But obviously, if you can afford to use two trades, use that cash and then get an upgrade to like a Latrell or a Dewey. I think that's probably worth it. But I think it's a bit of a risky buy now. And are you just buying that because he scored 76 last week? Because actually, his role is good. Obviously, I think it's like 55 minutes in the halves and then about 15 minutes in the middle. Like it's a good sort of combination to score well. But I don't know if it's worth like trading out someone who's also scoring like all right at the moment.
Yeah. I think it's also worth noting that they have a pretty hard schedule, um,
Mm.
which might hinder their attacking ability, especially with Hughes out. I think Pappenhausen wasn't named to play this week either, and I have a feeling a lot of players will be rested if they can in that final game, but that's something that we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
And this is your pod.
yeah. I think just someone that I saw like he's averaging pretty well, and they've lost quite a few guys in the last few weeks. The Broncos, so probably take a bit more like responsibility in their attack to sort of generate more running, and I guess probably get given the ball a little bit more. It's a huge risk, but I think at this point of the year, like you kind of do you don't want to take risks, but obviously, like there isn't much risk with him in the sense that he's going to start play 80. It obviously just isn't scoring. That's the concern. But it is a fun pick, and I think it's not going to go badly, but it might also not go as well as he has been. So that's not the issue.
Yeah, I think his base is pretty secure. I still think I'd put Carrigan over him. Um,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
he definitely is a pod. Like he's not many people have him, and he could make a difference in regards to scoring if he goes crazy in that sense. But also keeping in mind that a lot of the top few teams only have 2 trades left. Ricky, someone that can take you there for the rest of the year, I imagine. I think all Broncos players become viable.
Yeah, definitely.
And that actually reminds me, someone I was sort of looking at as a possible pod was Ben Hunt, now that he's been moved to halfback with the injury to both Ezra and um, Adam Reynolds. His average from last year, where he played halfback for most of the season, I believe, was 51, which is pretty good considering 449K. I think if I put it equivalent on it, it was sort of how I was envisioning Humphreys to perform for me in the past. I sort of feel like Ben Hunt now has that similar role. I think he's gonna take up majority of the kicking, which sets him with a really good base. Tackles as well will give him a good base. And I mean the Broncos, I think the Broncos are going to make a bit of a push at the end of this year for final. So I think offensive wise, he could come out and deliver points for you.
Yeah, I guess like I haven't checked. I assume Reynolds and Mam are out for the rest of the year with hamstrings, but like I think he's someone that I probably go with over Wishart just because of the role. It does depend how much kicking Reece Walsh gets and how much more responsibility, well, like how it gets divided between him and Ben Hunt. Because I don't think Billy Walters will be doing much sort of creative kicking or running. So it kind of does rely on Hunt and Reece Walsh to kind of run this team. But yeah, honestly, I don't mind it. I mean, I'm not really in the hunt for like, well, for Ben Hunt, but for someone like in like like in the mid range like that. But I also could upgrade, Calendar Silver to Ben Hunt as well potentially. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, like you said, I think it was a good call out that he probably pushes above Wishart now. Assuming that Ezra and Reynolds are out for the rest of the season, which I believe they are, but we probably need to double check that. Um,
Yeah.
and then another pod that I had in the half position is Sam Walker, mostly off the back of last week's performance, and since he's been back, he's also had pretty solid 50s, I think, halfback
Yeah.
2025.
I think so.
Yeah, 53, 50, 69. 10 goals, which is crazy. I mean, they're obviously not going to be scoring 64 points against the Dolphins every week, but with offensive output like that, it's, worth considering that maybe the Roosters are also making a final push and that this could become, a new team contending for the final spot this year.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I probably still prefer Ben Hunt over him, and yeah, kind of like a bit of a harder fixture as well. So I don't know. I don't love it as much as the Ben Hunt one. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like Sam Walker's ceiling's probably a bit higher, especially with goal kicking.
It's true. True.
And I guess it's worth deciding. They're both pretty similar in terms of ownership, I believe. I lost it. I'm pretty sure they're both pretty low owned. And anyway, we'll move on to our last
Mm.
pod, which is Hammer. I'll let you talk about him.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as you said, like, well, I doubt they're going to lose by 50 again. So I mean, like honestly, like he relies on tries. He does for a lot of them. So how many tries do you see him getting against the Broncos, Manly, Titans, and probably resting Raiders?
Yeah.
Probably two or three at least. I'm guessing. So I don't mind it. I probably prefer Reece Walsh now that again, like the halves are both gone. But it's a fun pick that if you need some depth or you need to make some changes, I don't mind it. But I don't think many people are kind of looking for Wingfield this at the moment, though. In general, with everyone sort of owning like Tedesco, Campbell, probably Kiraz as well. So, but yeah, it's still a fun pick though.
Yeah. I think at this time of year, you're trying to pick the right pods. There's only 4 games left. There could be any of the people we've talked about, any people we haven't talked about, could be the ones that go crazy. It just takes a hot streak of 4 games in a row. He got 91 points in round
Mm.
six off 3 tries. If he does that at least once over the next few games, it almost makes him a worthy buy over anyone else. So it's a bit of a gamble, but I think
Yeah,
he's someone
definitely.
worth considering.
Yeah,
All right, let's dive into how our teams went. We'll start off with your wrap up.
yeah. So 972 made about I think about 700 ranks in the end, which is pretty good. Was top 3K after which game was it? I think it was the Friday night, which was nice, but then obviously dropped back a little bit. My trades last week, in the end, just being those two. Obviously, I was considering drinking to Latrell. Yeah, to Latrell. Probably a good thing I didn't do that in the end. I think it was a 16-point difference, but that's fine. It's nice to have those five trades remaining, and I think obviously my team this week copped the Watson 28, which wasn't fun, but that's not too bad considering it's quite highly owned, and just got some avoided some of the lowest scores, and well, got carried a bit by Wishart mainly. But yeah, I just think, yeah, I mean, again, like no other scores below 28, so it's pretty kind of like average week. A lot of players score in the 40s, but I guess having the right players and having kind of like a good bit of depth at the moment, really. For this week, it's just going to be husking out at the moment for probably Adam Dewey, and then my second trade, which I wouldn't mind making, just to have a bit of fun and bring someone else in, but still a lot to be decided. Obviously, I was hoping Go would at least be on the reserves and be like consideration, but obviously he's just out for the week, so it does change things a little bit. And also, I think yeah, as I was saying to you today, probably wait and see what happens with the Storm on Thursday. If they do lose, then it makes it more likely that the Raiders will rest. So that might force a trade of Fogarty as well.
Yeah, I think Raiders make sense to go. I was considering selling Yo last week. I sort of feel like it's probably worth just holding him for now, right?
Yeah, I think yeah, if you saw him last week, I think that was a good call. But now you gotta hold.
I think there's also the possibility they maybe push up into the top two and then end up resting players. But if they don't push in the top two, I think it's less likely that that'll happen. And having Cleary and Yo in for the final round will be pretty big. If that doesn't happen, I think it's
Yeah,
important to have trades to pivot otherwise. Um, but that's also why I'm getting rid of Raiders now, and I think Fogarty will probably go for me sooner rather than later. But I'll talk about in a sec. I'll start off with my wrap up. I got 934, which I think was just below the top 1,000. I feel like it was a bit of a low scoring week, like a couple players underperforming. I'm still in the top 5K, which is nice. I did a pretty similar thing to you. I pulled the trigger on Drinky. He ended up performing okay, but I'm happy with having Carrigan and KPP for the rest of the season. And yeah, our teams are relatively similar. I had Josh Papali'i coming in just because lots of shenanigans lately with my bench and stuff. And he did all right for me. Humphreys has been a bit of a letdown. He's actually kind of screwed me over low key the last few weeks. And should have put the captaincy on Haas, but that's all right. Blake Brayley still staying at hooker, which is a very nice pod. Um, I'm also thinking Adam Dewey for Tarpany, and then I'm think I'm more likely to be going Tino for Fogarty, but we shall see. Yeah, I think it makes sense to get rid of Raiders now, and it could be something worth waiting, especially because with low trades now, if we have a repeat on something like Herbie or on multiple of our key
mm.
players, everyone will be screwed. We'll be forced to be using a lot of our lower tier players, which I have quite a lot of. Not good ones to be ending the season with either. They're not loops and they're not getting me points. So yeah, I think it's actually almost worth being a bit frugal.
Yeah, I think so. But I guess for us, like having five is quite a lot. So I don't know. Kind of have a bit of fun. So obviously hoping that Latrell was starting at fullback, but with him not now, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, they have so many injuries. I assume if he was going to be fullback, it would have happened already. It looks like for the rest of the year, it might be Jai Gray in fullback and Latrell in centre. But I mean, if that changes this week, I think Latrell definitely becomes a buy, and then I'll have even more struggles to deal with because I can't actually get to him easily. I might even then have to consider selling Yo, but we'll see how that turns out. I guess keep an eye on the reserves and stuff.
For sure, for sure.
All right, guys, thank you for watching. If you have any trades that you're considering, let us know. We'll get back to you. And yeah, best of luck.
Yeah, that's guys.